Unit 4, Biodiversity and Conservation. Let us first look at what is the definition of biodiversity. The term biodiversity was coined by Walter Rawson in 1985. It is defined as the variety and variability of species of all living organisms in a given region. The variety means different types of plant, animal, species that may be present in a given region, isn't it? A given region will have different herbs, shrubs, tree species. Similarly, different animals like ants, insects, earthworm, birds, mammals may be present in a given habitat. So that is the variety of species. And variability means that in a given space, in a given region, there are different habitats or ecosystems. So, in those ecosystems, the species of plants and animals that are found are different. And also, some species are seasonal, like some plants and frogs. They are active during a particular season, or they are found in large numbers during the particular season. So, the variety and variability of species of all living organisms, which includes plants, animals, and microorganisms, is known as biodiversity. Two organizations, IUCN and UNEP. IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. UNEP stands for United Nations Environment Programme. They have defined biodiversity in the year 1992 as the totality of genes, species, and ecosystems in a region. This brings to the next topic, levels of biodiversity. There are three levels of biodiversity. The first is genetic diversity, second is species diversity, and third is ecosystem or community diversity. Let us first look at what is the meaning of genetic diversity. Genetic diversity is defined as the variety of genes present within a particular species. A particular species, for example, let us consider Homo sapiens, will have several populations. Okay, a population in Asia, human population in Europe. So these populations, they have characters which are completely different, and those characters are because of genes present in their cell or nucleus. Now, gene is a segment of DNA, and that is responsible for some phenotypic characters or the characters which are visible externally. For example, skin color. It is completely different in case of European population and the Asian people. So a single gene, there is variation, and also if you consider the hair color, that is also different. Again, there are differences in the height of the people in the two regions. So all of this variety is in the single species, that is Homo sapiens. Even if we consider a single population, that is people living in India, you will get n number of different characteristics. These are due to different genes in different people. Some people will be tall, some will be short. So all of this genetic variation constitutes the genetic diversity. So genetic diversity or can be present or genetic variation can be present in geographically separated population and also among the individuals of a single population. Now, why these variations are present? These variations are present so that the individuals will adjust to their surrounding environment. Like people living in the tropical areas, they have higher concentration of melanin. And that is why the skin color is darker as compared to the people living in temperate region where the sun is the sun rays are less. They reach that region at an inclined angle. So in that region, the melanin concentration is less in the skin. So that is all about genetic diversity. This is an example of genetic diversity. Panthera tigris is a species of tiger found in India, that is Bengal tiger. And the Malayan tiger is Panthera tigris jacksoni. This is a single species, but two different populations. Here, the tigris, Panthera tigris jacksoni, is smaller in size when compared to Bengal tiger. Let us now see species diversity. It is defined as the variety of species present in a particular habitat or an ecosystem. Now, coral reefs are a very good example of species diversity because they are the most diverse habitats in terms of species composition. You will get different species of fish, then jellyfish, sponges, corals, then crustaceans like lobsters. So many species are present in the coral reefs. Therefore, they are the most diverse habitats. And if you consider deserts also, there are variety of reptiles that can be found in the deserts. There are many species of snakes, lizards, and tortoises can be found in the deserts. So, the variety of species present in a particular habitat or an ecosystem is referred to as species diversity. Yes, this is species diversity in forest ecosystem, where trees may be present, then different species of animals are present. And the third level of biodiversity is ecosystem diversity. It is also known as community diversity. It is defined as variety of ecosystems in a given region. Now let us consider Oriental region. Oriental region, it includes countries like India, then eastern part of Iran, southern China, Southeast Asia. So these regions or countries, they fall in the Oriental region. Now, Oriental region will have different types of ecosystems, like grassland ecosystem will be present, forest ecosystem will be present, deserts are there. So all this variety of ecosystems that are present is known as ecosystem diversity. Ecosystem, in the previous chapter we have studied that it is a system which is formed by interaction of several communities with their physical environment. And a community is a group of organisms belonging to different species that live in an area. So, and also we have seen how the communities found in grassland ecosystems are completely different from those found in a desert. And then all the different ecosystems are formed because there is variation in the climatic factors. So that results in the variation in the communities that are present. The next topic is biogeographical zones of India. For that, let us first understand what is the meaning of biogeography. The study of spatial and temporal distribution of species of plants and animals, along with factors responsible for that distribution, is known as biogeography. So it deals with the study of spatial distribution of species. What is the meaning of spatial distribution? How the species are distributed in space. Okay, that is different regions on the earth, how they are distributed. And it also deals with the temporal distribution of species. So temporal means the distribution through the geological time. So this geological time we'll see in the further slides, but for, for the time being, remember that spatial distribution means distribution of species in space, and temporal distribution means distribution through the geological time. And also the factors that are responsible for the distribution of species, like soil, then altitude. Altitude means height from the sea level, then rainfall, light conditions. We have seen these factors when we were studying ecosystem. So they affect the distribution of species. So let us once again revise what is biogeography. It is the study of spatial and temporal distribution of species of plants and animals, along with the factors responsible for their distribution. Yes, now this is geological time scale. So, based on the study of different layers of the rock, okay, and the fossils that were found in these rocks, the events in the Earth's history were classified into certain time zones. Okay, so the larger one is known as eon. Eon is subdivided into many eras. An era consists of many periods. Periods consist of epochs, and epochs consist of ages. So all this, the Earth's history or the event in the Earth's history, they are studied. Okay, or the timeline is studied by the information obtained from the different layers of the rocks and the fossils that were present in it, that were found in it. So the Phanerozoic eon is known as the eon of visible life. Okay, when living organisms were seen or were observed for the first time, that is known as Phanerozoic eon. It has three eras: the Paleozoic era, which is also known as the ancient life, the Mesozoic era, which is the middle life, and the Cenozoic era, which is the recent life. So here you can see the Phanerozoic eon, which is divided into Paleozoic era, ancient life, Mesozoic era, middle life, and the Cenozoic era, that is the recent life. The Paleozoic era has certain periods, okay, and during the Cambrian period, animals with shell, you can see here, different mollusks, they were dominant life forms. Okay, then in the Ordovician period of Paleozoic era, first fish could be seen. Okay, first fish was observed in the Ordovician period, and first land plants they were observed in the Silurian period, and in the Carboniferous period, the amphibians were dominant, or they were abundant in the Carboniferous period of Paleozoic era. You can see here. Okay. Then the next is Mesozoic era. Mesozoic era, it has Triassic period where dinosaurs were dominant. You can see here Triassic period, the dinosaurs were dominant. And in the Jurassic period, the first birds were observed. Then in the Cretaceous, flowering plants were first first observed. Okay. Then the Cenozoic era. In Cenozoic era, the tertiary period is known as age of mammals. Okay, different types of mammals they were observed during the tertiary period, and the quaternary period is essentially where the human development has occurred. So you can see that if we study the layers of the rock and the fossils that are found, so the lower layers will be the oldest one, and the upper layers will be the newest one. So here you can see that they contain different fossils. Okay. And based on that, we can say that during this time, a particular species was dominant. During this period, a particular species was dominant. So all of this can be, this shows the variability of species through the geological time. Okay, and that is nothing but how the species were distributed through the time, that is known as biogeography, or all these studies are done under biogeography. Yes, this is an illustration map showing different biogeographic zones of India. Now, India has 10 biogeographic zones. This is the Trans-Himalayan zone. Then there is Himalayan zone. Then this is your desert. Then semi-arid zone, the Western Ghats, Deccan Peninsula, Gangetic Plains, Northeast Zone, the coasts, and the islands. So they together in total are 10 zones. Before we look into each of these zones in detail, let us see what we have studied so far. So initially we have defined what is the meaning of biodiversity. Okay, person who had coined this term was Walter Rosen in 1985. Then we have seen the definition of biodiversity, that it is the variety and variability of species of all living organisms in a given region. And then we have seen the definition given by two organizations, IUCN and UNEP, that it is a totality of genes, species, and ecosystems in a region. Then we had seen levels of biodiversity. There are three levels of biodiversity. First is genetic diversity. It is nothing but the variety of genes present within a particular species. So this variation is present in geographically separated population and also among the individuals of a single population. Why these variations are present? So that individuals are able to adjust to their surrounding environment. Then we have seen the species diversity. Variety of species present in a particular ecosystem is referred to as species diversity. So we have discussed that how coral reefs are the most diverse habitats in terms of species composition. Then species diversity in forest ecosystem. And the third level of biodiversity is ecosystem diversity, which is also known as community diversity. Variety of ecosystems in a given region is ecosystem diversity. So we discussed about the Oriental region, which includes parts of India, then Eastern Iran, Southern China, Southeast Asia, that is known as Oriental region. So that region will have different ecosystems, like grasslands are there, forests are there, deserts are there. All of these diverse habitats together constitute the ecosystem diversity. Ecosystem consists of several communities. Okay, and these communities are nothing but the groups of organisms of different species that live in a particular area. Several communities interacting with the physical environment together form the ecosystem. And there is variation in the communities also. This is mainly because of the climatic factors. And then we have seen biogeography. Definition of biogeography, that the study of spatial and temporal distribution of species of plants and animals, along with the factors responsible for their distribution, is known as biogeography. So, spatial distribution means distribution of species in space, and temporal distribution is distribution through the geological time. Factors that affect distribution of species are soil, then altitude, rainfall, and light conditions. Then we have discussed about the geological timescale, that the different animal communities were, or plant species were dominant during particular periods of different eras. So there are basically three eras of the Paleozoic eon, which is the eon of life, the Paleozoic era, which is the ancient life, then the Mesozoic era, which is the middle life, and the Cenozoic era. And you can see that the lower layers of rocks will be the oldest ones, and the upper layer will be the newest ones. So, when the fossils of these layers were studied, it was found that the species that were found are completely different. So, based on that data, the events in the Earth's history were classified. Then we have discussed this map where 10 biogeographic zones of India are shown. Okay, beginning with the Trans-Himalayan zone, then the Himalaya. This is in the northern part of the country. Then in the western part, there are desert, semi-arid region. Then the Deccan Peninsula is the most stable part. Then Western Ghats, The Gangetic Plains, Northeast region, coasts, islands, and these are the underwinds and these are the eruptions. So India has 10 biogeographic zones. The first is Trans-Himalayan Zone. It is also known as Tibetan Himalayan region. In India, it includes the Lahore Spiti area of Himachal Pradesh and certain areas of Ladakh. Now, this region is present at a higher altitude, that is, the height from the level is greater. And endemic species of plants and animals can be found in this region. So, flora means plant and fauna is animals. So, endemic means what they are found only in a particular region or that area. These plant and animal species. There is high endemism in this area or in this zone. Now the vegetation here is sparse alpine steppe. Alpine vegetation means that which is found in mountains and steppe is a wide grassland. A little bit of alpine steppe vegetation can be found in this zone. The animals that are present in the Trans-Himalayan zone, they are Tibetan ass, is also known as Kiang in local language. Then the wild yak, okay, which is vulnerable under IUCN status. You know that different species of plants and animals they have been conferred different levels of protection by IUCN based on the certain criteria. So this wild yak it is vulnerable under IUCN status. And this is mainly because the population is decreasing due to hunting. This is wild yak is endemic to Trans-Himalayan zone. Then the four-horned antelope or chausinga, okay, that is again endemic to Indian subcontinent. Is found in the Trans-Himalayan zone. Then there's a bird named black-necked crane, which can be seen in the lakes and marshes of this zone. This bird it breeds in the Tibetan plateau and under IUCN status it is vulnerable. Then snow leopard. Snow leopard is found in this region. It is a state animal of Ladakh. It is again a vulnerable species. So this is the diversity, biodiversity and the vegetation of biodiversity and the vegetation of Trans-Himalayan zone. You can see here this the sparse alpine steppe vegetation and this is the wild ass or the kiang. This is the Tibetan ass. Okay, Tibetan ass or the kiang that is found. Then wild yak over here. This is the black necked crane. Okay. Then the chousing yak. There are four horns on the head region. And the snow leopard, which is again the yak and snow leopard, they are endemic to Trans-Himalayas. Okay. Then after Trans-Himalayas, the next is Himalayan zone. Himalayan zone, it shows variety of vegetation. So there are tropical rainforests, then alpine vegetation, that is few grasslands and scrubs are present in the mountains also. And there are many endangered species like the Kashmir stag. Okay, locally it is known as hangul. It is a critically endangered species which is found in the Himalayan zone. Himalayan zone is further categorized into three subzones. Himalayan foothills. Okay, they extend from Kashmir to Assam. Then Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas a little bit higher in altitude and again extend from Kashmir to Ladakh to Kumaon. Kumaon means Uttarakhand. Okay, and Eastern Himalayas it includes regions of Sikkim to Arunachal Pradesh and parts of Assam. So you can better see it in the map. This is the Himalayas. Okay. So the whiter part in this map is the Trans Himalayas. You can see here. White or silver shaded, and this is the brown color. It is the Himalayas. Okay. Himalayan zone. So yes, yes. So here you can see that again there are Western Himalayas which are from Kashmir up to the Kumaon in Uttarakhand, and then the Eastern Himalayas, which includes parts of Sikkim and Arunachal and Assam. So this region again it is subjected to deforestation because there is large scale grazing of animals, livestock, and also there is cultivation on these mountain slopes, and there is demand for timber and firewood in this region. So it is subjected to deforestation. Then let us look at the Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas, it extends from Kumaon, Uttarakhand to the northwest region of Kashmir. So you can clearly see here in this map. Okay, this is Uttarakhand over here, and this is Kashmir. So this region, the purple shaded one, is the Western Himalayas. Again, it is divided into three regions based on the altitude. Okay, sub-montane, then the temperate mountain zone and the alpine zone. Okay, so see this diagram, you can see here up to 5,000 feet from the sea level is the sub-mountain zone. Okay, and up to 12,000 feet is the temperate mountain zone, and about 12,000 one will find the alpine zone. Okay, so the mountain itself is classified into three zones. Up to 5,000 feet will be the submountain zone, then up to 12,000 feet will be the temperate mountain zone, and above 12,000 feet will be the alpine zone. Okay, and let us first look at the submountain zone. Submountain zone is the lower area. Okay, since it, from the name itself you can say submountain. It is below the mountain. So here it is a lower area of mountain at about 1,000 to 5,000 feet above the sea level. It contains tropical and subtropical forest. Okay, because altitude is low, so one can find here the tropical and subtropical forest. So which kind of trees are found? Shoria robusta, the timber tree, then Dalbergia sisu, okay, then Butea monosperma, or in Latin called as spurs, Acacia petachu. Okay, these trees are scattered among the grasses, and between 3,000 to 5,000 feet, that is somewhat higher at higher altitudes, one can find the fungus tree. Okay, so the vegetation here mostly is of tropical and subtropical nature. Then the next zone So you can see here, okay, this is the Shoria tree, okay, then the Lutea and the Allergia. Then the temperate mountain zone, okay, it is the middle region that is between 5,000 to around 12,000 feet. Since it is temperate region, okay, temperate means what it will have, which kind of trees? Coniferous trees. Okay, so one will find it is a colder region, so one will find coniferous forest in this region. Then there are birch trees. Okay, there are few alpine pastures. Then tree species like Quercus, Salix, apple, peach, almonds, all of these can be seen in the temperate mountain zone. Okay. Then animal species present are blue sheep, or locally it is called as bharal. Now, blue sheep is a native sheep which is found in this Himalayas, and it has the curved horns. And why it is known as blue sheep? Because it's the blue tint of the mountain, and its body is somewhat camouflage. Okay, it camouflages with the mountains. It is able to climb up high uh, in the mountain. Okay, you can climb the mountain cliffs, and because of that blue greenish color of the rock and its color of its body, they camouflage with each other. It is very difficult to locate this shape. Okay. Then the second is Hangul, or the Kashmir stack. There is a complete national park for its protection or conservation. Touching National Park, you might have heard this name in Srinagar. It's famous for conservation of Kashmir stack. This is usually brown color animal and without tail. It is critically endangered. Critically endangered means very few individuals of this animal are left. And it is known as Hangur because its favorite food is Indian horse chestnut, so which is locally known as han, and it is therefore known as Hangur. Then other animal species like white-crested Khalij chair pheasant. This is a bird, and then snow leopard also can be found in this region. So we'll just have a look at, yes. One will find the coniferous trees, and this is the salix tree, and then this is the hangul and the blue sheep. You can see here how the color of this uh, body color of the ship is camouflaged with the rocks that are present. So it is very difficult to locate. Then the last region is the alpine zone. Alpine zone is at a higher altitude. We have discussed this that about 12,000 feet, alpine zone is present, where mostly the vegetation is in the form of shrubs and grasses. So plants like aster and primula can be seen in the alpine zone. So we are discussing Himalayan zone. We have discussed Western Himalayas. And now we'll be discussing the Eastern Himalayas. So Eastern Himalayas includes this part, that is Sikkim and the Arunachal Pradesh and parts of Assam. Here in the Eastern Himalayas, there is more of tropical flora and fauna. Why? Because this region receives very high rainfall and there are warmer conditions. So there is a high species diversity in this region compared to the western Himalayas. Okay, and less of coniferous vegetation is there, but one can find various species of rhododendrons and oaks in this region. Okay, vegetation is really dense. If you have happened to visit this region, you might have seen that how dense the forests are there. And some of the regions they receive heavy rainfall. So it is mostly a region of high rainfall and warm conditions and also high species diversity. So it includes regions of Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh and few parts of Assam. Again, it is divided into three zones. Okay, so submontane zone, temperate zone, and the alpine zone. So one can see here, 6,000 feet is the submontane zone. Then around 12,000 feet will be the temperate mountain zone, and the last will be the alpine zone. So here, the submontane zone it has tropical forest with Sharia up to 6,000 feet. Okay. And one will also find few deciduous trees. Deciduous trees, we have discussed it before that the leaves of these trees they are broad, okay, and they are shed during a particular season. So, cedrela and also bamboo trees can be found in this region. Then the temperate zone, it is 6,000 to 12,000 feet is the temperate zone. Here you get the various species of oak and moss and ferns are also present. Then juniperus. And here the dominant are the epiphytes. Okay, orchids are the dominant. Epiphytes are the plants which grow upon other plant. Okay. So orchids, they you can see them growing on the trees. So the dominant vegetation here comprises of orchids. Animals like red panda. Red panda is an endangered animal. It prefers to live on the trees, can be uh, found in this region. Then hawk badger, sero. Okay, sero is a medium-sized mammal. It somewhat looks like a goat, but it also has some of the characters of a cow also. Okay, so temperate zone it consists of this animal sero. Then the third is the alpine zone. Alpine zone, the trees are absent because the height is much greater from the sea level. It is 12,000 feet. So usually it is grasses which are present in this region and rhododendron. This tree you might have seen it is a tree with vibrant pink flowers. So it is found in this region. So see here. Okay, this is the species distribution. The submontane and then the mountain. This is the Sero, okay, Himalayan Sero, which is found here in the eastern Himalayas, a red panda, and then these are the rhododendrons. You can see how vibrant the flower color is. Okay, so let us now revise once again. There are 10 biogeographic zones. We have discussed Trans-Himalayas and the Himalayas. So the Trans-Himalayas, again, it is the region, it includes areas of Ladakh and Lahore Spiti Valley of or Lahore Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh. Then the region contains endemic species and the vegetation is sparse alpine steppe. Okay, I told you, alpine vegetation means related to mountains, and steppe, these are the wide grasslands. So that the vegetation here is sparse, okay, mostly in the form of grasses. And then the animals, the Tibetan ass or the kiang wild yak, which is endemic to this region, four-horned antelope, which are similar, then snow leopard. Then again, Tibetan wolf and Himalayan marmot is also found. Lakes and marshes, they show this black-necked crane. Okay, then Himalayan zone, again the vegetation is varied, because we have discussed that there are Himalayan foothills, then the Western Himalayas and the Eastern Himalayas. So one would find alpine meadows, then shrubs also, and also tropical rainforest in this region, particularly in the Eastern Himalayas. Tropical rainforests are dominant in the Eastern Himalayas. So Western Himalayas, it includes um, higher altitudes from Kashmir to Ladakh and up to Kumaon. Kumaon is in Uttarakhand. And Eastern Himalayas, it includes regions of Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, and parts of Assam. The region is subjected to deforestation. We have discussed Western Himalayas. Western Himalayas, based on the altitude, it is differentiated into submontane, then temperate montane, and finally the alpine zone. Accordingly, the vegetation also changes and the animal species that are found also changes. In Western Himalayas, submontane zone, it is dominated by tropical and subtropical species. So, Shaurya, then Bhutia, all of these can be found in the submontane zone. Temperate mountain zone, one will find blue sheep or bharal, okay, then the Kashmir stag, snow leopard, and apple, peach, almonds, almond trees can be found in this region. So it is a temperate mountain zone, so coniferous forest will be present. And then the third is the alpine zone. Alpine zone again, it is mostly comprising of shrubs and grasses. Then we have discussed the Eastern Himalayas. Eastern Himalayas include the regions of Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh and parts of Assam. Again, this region compared to Western Himalayas, it is high in rainfall and there are warm conditions. So the species diversity is also high and there is very dense vegetation present in this region. So more of tropical flora and fauna is there and less of coniferous trees is present. Now there are various species of rhododendrons and oaks found in this region. Again, it is differentiated into three zones: submontane, temperate, and the alpine zone. So the submontane zone has few tropical species like Shaurya, then deciduous trees. Then temperate zone has the epiphytes or the orchids that are dominant here. Oak trees can be seen. Then red panda, this animal is found in the temperate zone. Alpine zone, it is about 12,000 feet where rhododendron is found. Let us now revise today's lecture. In today's lecture, we have seen what is biodiversity. We have seen the definition of biodiversity, general definition, and definition given by IUCN and United Nations Environment Program. Then we have seen the levels of biodiversity. There are three levels of biodiversity. Genetic diversity is the variety of genes present within a particular species. Then species diversity, which is variety of species present in a particular ecosystem. And ecosystem diversity, which is again the variety of ecosystems present in a given region. So, three levels of biodiversity. Then we have seen what is biogeography. We have seen the definition of biogeography and different factors that are responsible for the distribution of species. Then we have discussed the geological timescale, that the different layers of rocks, they contain fossils of different species, according to which the events in the Earth's history were classified. And a rough timeline has been established wherein the species that were dominant at a particular time are known today. Then we have seen the biogeographic zones of India, that there are total 10 biogeographic zones, and today we have discussed Trans-Himalayan zone and the Himalayan zone. The Trans-Himalayan zone, it is a region comprising of the Lahore Spiti area of Himachal Pradesh and Ladakh, and the vegetation here is mostly sparse alpine steppe, then the wild yak and snow leopard can be found in this region, then the black neck crane. Then we have discussed the Himalayan zone, where again there are three subdivisions: Himalayan foothills, Western Himalayas, and Eastern Himalayas. So, Western Himalayas, the region of Kashmir to Ladakh to Kumaon in Uttarakhand, and Eastern Himalayas, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, and parts of Assam. Now, Western Himalayas, on the basis of altitude, they are classified into submontane, temperate montane, and alpine zone. Submontane part has the tropical and subtropical forests, whereas the temperate montane has the coniferous forest, and alpine zone has the grasses and shrub. If you remember this animal, blue sheep and Kashmir stag, which can be found in the temperate zone. Then the Eastern Himalayas. Eastern Himalayas, this is a region where there is high rainfall and warm conditions, and also there is high species diversity. There is dense vegetation, less of coniferous trees, more tropical flora and fauna. So again, there are three zones: submontane, temperate, and alpine zone. So at the alpine zone, mostly rhododendrons are found.